I ditched a $150,000 business degree. It was like my out of the matrix moment. We turn the corner and we see what looks like. I thought that owning my own business would have to wait until 30 years old. I want to see the pyramids till I'm 40. Knowing that you're meant for more, but I don't know how to grasp it. By 17 years old, we've heard no more than 150,000 times. Do you want to leave this behind and go chase our wildest dreams? I have never wanted to go against their advice so badly. What is kiteboarding? That was the moment when I listened to myself before anybody else. I'm on the other side of some of my biggest fears, some of my lowest lows, and some of my holy shit, I can't even believe this is real moments. I've let a camera take me to projects around the world, filming extreme sports, pro athletes. I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. This is where a new life begins. There's no perfect way to start a podcast, but if it's at 4:30 a.m., that's probably the most me way to start a podcast. Actually, that was me this morning. But if you can see, if you're watching this, it's actually very light outside. I tried last night. I had a great, I recorded for probably 3.5 hours. It felt amazing, but I'm in the Florida Keys and there are chickens. I tried so hard, but I had a meltdown. I just really liked that intro so much because it's so true. It will not be the first time that I will start recording a podcast at early in the morning. But anyway, the chickens decided to make tons of noise and bark, and it was so distracting, and this is very important to me, so I deleted everything. I was like, I have to start over. Even though I have no time to start over, we are going to make it happen because I want it to be good, and I don't want you to hear chickens in the background, but you might. I don't know. Listen, welcome. I'm Sid Meier. I am the host of this podcast, and I am so excited to be starting this community, the Kids Like Us. This community is for you. If you have big goals, dreams, if you see bigger things for yourself, if you're an ambitious soul, maybe you can picture success even though you don't know what it looks like yet for you. Or you want to be a creator, an entrepreneur, or maybe you already are. Maybe you're becoming someone new and are dealing with the grief, the pressure, and the loneliness before you reach this new version of you. Here, we're going to discuss the behind the scenes and the reality of what it's like to be an entrepreneur, a creator. We'll discuss the self-help and ancient wisdom to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and a cool-ass life. Or maybe you're already there. It might be a little selfish, but honestly, I started this podcast and this community because I needed it. I needed it for the 2 years of my life when I went in every single direction but with the grain. When I dropped out of one of the top 10 business programs in the United States to move across the country to learn how to surf, to kiteboard, to couch hop, to put everything on the line for a bigger dream that I hardly even said out loud because it wasn't realistic. It wasn't easy to make that decision. I'm going to tell you the 2 things that had to happen to me in order for me to be where I am now, but also a few of the things I chose to be where I am now. And where am I now, might you ask? Well, like I said, I'm in the Florida Keys, but I have been couch hopping up and down the East Coast and back home in Minnesota for over a year. I am a marketing and branding agency owner with a full pipeline and gearing up to hire my first full-time employee at 22 years old. I've let a camera take me to projects around the world, filming extreme sports, pro athletes. I've seen the pyramids. I've seen Pompeii. I'm on the other side of some of my biggest fears, some of my lowest lows, and some of my holy shit, I can't even believe this is real moments. Like when I was filming in the clear blue water of the Red Sea on a super yacht. A lot of the time, my work paid the fare. What a dream, right? What a dream life. But it's all not what it all appears like. There is a lot that I chose that had gotten me there. There are things, the strategies, the mindset, the self-help, the ancient wisdom that propelled me into this new life a little bit more rapidly than if I weren't to have had this in my reservoir. I'm ready to share it all with you. Before I got here, I had so many doubts. I thought I was only meant for certain careers, jobs. I thought that I could only do so many things. I thought that owning my own business would have to wait until 30 years old. I don't see the pyramids till I'm 40, till I'm retired. Who knows? I used to have these same things running through my mind until these two things happened. I've lived the transformation from stuck, feeling out of place, lonely, knowing that you're meant for more, but I don't know how to grasp it. What is my passion? What is my purpose? I don't know yet. I've been there. And now I'm on the other side. I have a fabulous client named Simon T. Bailey, and he was doing a presentation on a study. And they found that by 17 years old, we've heard no more than 150,000 times. It's no wonder that we have these invisible glass ceilings on our potential, that we limit where we think we can do and what we can do for the world. Because we've been told for years and years and years, this is what success looks like, and this is a sign you're probably not going to be successful. And that is just bullshit. This is going to be a space where your crazy ideas actually have room to breathe. This will be a space where you can see what people who are doing what you want to do have gone through. The things that could make your process look more efficient, easier, smoother. And just a shared mindset. To be a part of a group of people who are willing to do things differently and want to do things differently and actually one day might. That makes all the difference in the world for our sanity and our sense of belonging. So I want to tell you a story. I ditched a $150,000 business degree, fully funded, to couch hop. This is where I was. I was at the University of Minnesota in the Charleston School of Management. I was in school for about a year and a half, and my sister wanted to go visit Charleston, South Carolina, because she was thinking about moving there. So she wanted to take a trip, and off we went, me, my sister, and our friend Bailey. Let me set the scene. It was amazing. It was fun. Charleston has so much history and beauty, and we were in the main Charleston area, and we were tootling around waiting for our dinner reservation, and we wanted to look at the huge, insane houses and dream, like what would it be like to own one of those one day? And there we were. We turn the corner, and in the distance, we see what looks like a black trailer, some people, and things scattered on the ground. We approach a little closer, and it's actually a colorful black trailer, and there's 3 individuals. There's what looks like a wakeboard, a one-wheeler, a floaty on the ground. The back of the trailer is propped open, and there is light emerging from it, like there's a party inside. But the most interesting thing we see is a man in a yellow dress dancing around. As we get a little closer, he kind of leans in. Hang loose! Nothing better to do than hang loose. And we're like chuckling. Okay, none of our business. Fine, but entertaining. I love it. We slow down, of course, and we're driving past this trailer, and we see it's connected to a white school bus. And as we slowly are rolling past the front of the white school bus, there's a 3-foot astronaut statue in front of this bus with silent disco equipment wrapped around its neck. And that's when I said, stop the car. Please stop the car. We have to meet these people. These people that are frolicking in the middle of a Friday afternoon when most individuals are at work. What life are they living? And what's going? I want to be a part of this scene right now. So we meet them, and the man in the yellow dress, he is the most Florida man of Florida men that I have ever met. Any understanding that I've ever had of crazy Florida man. Yeah, that's it. You three beautiful princesses. You know, I'm the type of person to stop and smell the flowers and tell the flower that it's beautiful. What a trip. What an absolute trip. And then the interior of the trailer is decked out like a spaceship. There's lights everywhere. There's 2 bunk beds. There's a yellow sofa. There's all this electronic disco equipment and camera and like monitors and lights all about. It was like my out of the matrix moment. And it was also running through my head, I would love to follow this man around with a camera because I know it would get views. The things he says and the things he does is just so different and interesting and funny and frankly amazing. What a great change up of pace. And what is that? This is real for some people. This is how some people live. They just hang out, smoke weed, go kiteboard, do whatever the heck they want on a Friday afternoon. I left thinking that might have just altered my entire reality and my understanding of what life can look like. We also meet Jenny, and she's just this amazing, welcoming woman who has this soul and fire to her. And she just welcomed us with open arms into the scene. And we hung out for about 3 hours, actually. As you imagine, there was a lot to do. They had a lot of toys laying about. We all learned how to one wheel. We danced around. We had a silent disco party. I smoked a joint, and we had a great time. And they were telling us that they had just got off the water after they were kiteboarding. What is kiteboarding? I've never heard of this. And Jenny takes on the task of explaining what kiteboarding is. She said, it's basically like wakeboarding, but you drive your own boat. That boat is actually a sail in the sky that's attached to you in a harness at your tummy. And you power yourself using the wind. What? What do you mean? I've never seen, what are you talking about? I've never heard of this before in my entire life. That sounds nuts. And all that's going through my brain is like, I want to film this. I've hardly picked up a camera, but I want to film this. I'm flying drones at this point because I'm a marketing manager for a roofing company, but like, I've always wanted to pick up the camera side of things. And so I tell her, I'm really intrigued. First of all, I'd like to try that because I'd like to try everything. But second of all, I'd really like to film that. Are you going back out? No, I mean, there's no more wind, but, you know, we'll stay in touch. And I say, sure, I guess, like, we're leaving tomorrow or the next day, and I'll probably never see you again, maybe, but it turns out that wakeboard that was sitting on the ground was a kiteboard. And long story short, I go back to school, and I can't shake this. What was that? What was that? And I'm texting Jenny, and I'm like, I'm really interested in all of this. I don't know. Me trying to like subtly say, I want to do this, but I didn't even know what I was trying to say. And she's the amazing woman that she is. She invites me down to experience the kite life with a crew in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. I'm like, oh, when is the trip? In 2 weeks. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the dates. Nice. I have a midterm for sure. So I'll think on that. And I think about it because that would be the first trip I would ever take by myself. The first time I would do something out of pure curiosity. No like guided reason to leave and try it and go. And I ultimately I'm like, I have to go. I have to go. This is such an amazing opportunity to experience what this is and also film it. So I'm like sitting in my class, probably a week out at this point, and I'm sweating because the straight A student that I am, how am I going to tell my professor that I have to make up this exam? I can't come. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to lie. But there's a way, I'm like, this whole entire class, I'm thinking, there's a way to frame this so that I'm not lying. And I was so nervous, but I walked up to the professor, alas, and I said, I have a business opportunity that requires my attention in North Carolina, and I would like to retake this exam, reschedule this exam for myself. Sure thing, yeah, that's great. Thank you, professor, for greenlighting my first step into dropping out of college. Little did he know just how good for me this would be. So I do it. I send it down on a flight all by myself with my phone and a drone to film this and experience this. And I get down there, and Jenny and I agreed on some tourist trap mall in North Carolina to meet at. I Ubered there after my flight, and, I don't know Jenny that well. And I come to find out that Jenny's always late. So I'm in this tourist trap mall at a cafe doing some work, easy peasy. She should probably be there to pick me up in like an hour and a half. And and then the mall, and then the cafe is going to close. So, okay, fine. Jenny, where you at? I still haven't left yet. I'm sorry. I'm in North Carolina, and you're still in Charleston? And this entire mall is this weird vibe of should be really vibrant and full of life and people, but because it's like we're entering wintertime, there's like nobody there, and it's desolate, and it's this weird eerie vibe. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm sitting on a bench outside, and there's like a Ferris wheel to my left and shops over here and not many people, and I'm doing my Duolingo lesson, and I'm like, I start to freak out after doing Duolingo for more than 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, what the heck was I thinking? Who am I to take a flight, to meet a stranger, to trust her to pick me up and bring me to the Outer Banks with this crew? Who am I? I should have just stayed home. What am I doing? This was stupid. What? I shouldn't have listened to like anything that I was thinking. Maybe I should book a flight home. And I probably cry. I'm like, oh my God. But I stick it out because my curiosity is too extreme on all of these fronts. Eventually, she comes rolling up, at least 3.5 hours late. I realize that Jenny's always late. I was feeling alone. I was doubting everything. And when I got in the car, everything flipped. The kite community is one of the most welcoming and amazing, thoughtful community I've ever met. I've never clicked with a group so quickly because they're all here to live a life that requires flexibility and adventure and trade-offs, because the wind doesn't cater to your schedule. You have to send it. You have to take these trips. You have to leave work early. You have to make these arrangements in your schedule so that you can go get a taste of the kite life. And there's few people that are willing to do that. But once you get a taste of this kite thing, I understood why. So we're there. I meet the crew. They're all amazing. Nothing but good things to say. It was so fun. And I spend the weekend filming everybody with my phone and my drone. I got some cool shots and I made a video, and I look back at that video, I'm like, that was so shit. What did I make? But that was just the start. Every starting point is shit. And I waited patiently. I wanted to get on the kite. I was like, that looks so cool. I'll wait patiently. I'll pay my dues. I will film these people, give them photos, give them videos, and do everything I can to maybe, hopefully, they will put me on the kite. And they did. They started with a small trainer kite, which is maybe this big, 3 feet. And the point of this is that it doesn't have enough of a canopy to generate enough force to yeet you across the beach like the big one would. So it's a chance for you to understand what inputs mean what outputs in terms of direction and force and where the kite will go. So I do that and it's great. And then like the wind just gives up on them all. And they were hoping for a lot more wind. There's this graph that they use to measure wind and predict, how windy it will be. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to have to learn a whole new science to understand what's the science behind wind. I mean, weather class was great. I mean, I didn't take weather class. Whatever. I don't know anything. So super intimidating, right? But basically the wind died on them. They were all a little bit disappointed, but they weren't going to let the lack of wind stop a party. But it also meant that I didn't get a chance to get on the big kite. Not until we were back in Charleston, where I was going to take my flight back home. My flight was in about 2 hours. And Jenny is like, the wind is up, Sid. I think we have to get you on a kite. You can't leave without trying the big kite. And I'm like, wait, but my flight, like, I was in this very weird position. Like, I could definitely miss my flight if I decide to do this. But this is the entire reason why I wanted to come. So we go to the beach. She sets it up. It's probably about an hour and a half until I need to be boarding my flight when the kite is all set up and we're ready to attach myself. I'm already like, all right, I'm already here. If I miss the flight, I can schedule another one. When I took hold, when they attached me to that kite, something inside of me literally woke up. Because I'm sitting here attached to this thing that could kill me, that could break all my bones and yeet me across the beach before I even knew what was happening. It was so thrilling. It was the most thrill I've probably ever touched. Better than a roller coaster. Here I was with these new people that I met on a random beach across the country, experiencing something that nobody I know has ever experienced. And in that moment, there was also so much excitement, because what could this possibility mean? You mean that I can work with Mother Nature, our dear friend, to harness the power of the wind to power my glide across the water on this kiteboard. You mean that people jump 30 feet in the air like it's no problem. Literally, people who are flying across the ocean 30 feet in the air. You're telling me that this kite is the thing that allows them to fly? I want to fly. Okay, it was great. It was thrilling, but it was time to go. We put the kite down. I make my flight home because the Charleston airport's actually a small airport. And I returned to my mundane copy-paste day of classes, gym, homework, study, and I can't shake it. What was I doing 24 to 48 hours ago? What was I literally doing? That was something so whack, so wild, so alive. And I couldn't shake it. I was like, I think I need to do that again. And Jenny told me, if you come back down, I will teach you how to kiteboard. Now listen, learning to kiteboard is expensive. First of all, it's like $100+ an hour for lessons, maybe. And the gear is ultra expensive as well. So this was an opportunity. She said that she would teach me. That would be really cool. But every part of me, the logic was telling me, no. You need to finish your damn degree. People go into extreme debt to have the education that I'm receiving. People don't even have access to the education that I'm receiving. Who am I to throw this away? I'm ungrateful to throw this education away. It only makes sense that I finish out this fast ticket to success. It only makes sense because people would fight so hard for it. But what about that moment? What about a different way of life? I'm kind of like, I text my yes woman Bree. I call my yes woman Bree and I tell her about this opportunity. And I'm like, yo, you think you would come with me? I mean, it'd be pretty cool to go like learn how to surf just for 6 months or something. I don't know. She's like, well, let me know. I'm interested. I'm not sure, but I'm interested. I spent a couple months collecting tons of data from friends, professors, parents, family. And of course, the overwhelming advice was to stay in school, Sid. It's not that long. You've got 2.5 years till you're done. Then you can go do that. Like, you're right. It wouldn't be that bad. Surely I could stick it out. And then I go talk to the leader of the entrepreneurship program that I'm in. I go tell him about all of this crazy thing. I've never spoken to him before. I waltz into his office. I'm like, listen, John, I have a great idea. I'd like to run it by you since you know a lot of entrepreneurs. I tell him the whole thing. And he says, well, as a dad, I'm really scared for you. And I would worry for you, for your safety and your success. But as an entrepreneur, he said, listen, I'm not going to give you permission. I know that's what you're looking for. But why not try it? You can always come back, take a gap semester. You can always come back if it doesn't work. Who said it? Steve Jobs or someone said it. There are doors that you can walk through and walk back through. And this was one of those doors. You're right. In 6 months, if this doesn't work or something, if I can't prove to myself or my parents that I don't want to do what I'm doing, I can come back. At this point, I hadn't found a reason to start recognizing that I didn't really feel like I belonged at school. I hadn't found a friend group. I didn't appreciate going to the bar and feeling like shit after because no one gave me attention, or I didn't have enough fun, or drinking used to be fun, but it transformed into something that made me anxious. It made me cry. Going to the same bars every weekend. Nothing was working like it should, but I was finding, of course, like always, all of the positive in whatever my situation was. I loved learning. I had great professors, and I met some homies for life. I did. I just didn't feel great about it all. And I'm like, maybe it would be a good opportunity to leave and try something else. But no, that wouldn't be a good idea. And I just kept trying to fight this feeling off, this gut feeling. But let me tell you just how much my parents' opinion meant to me. I didn't realize what a hold they had on my reality. Like most of us, we grew up listening to these authority figures. What they say is right. I just need to blindly follow. And that's like instilled deep within us, right? And my parents, they were like, what the heck, Sid? A gap semester? Come on. Probably a phrase that no parent wants to hear. Come on, Sid, what are you doing? Just finish your degree and then you can go after that. Their opinion meant so much to me. I placed way too damn much weight on what others thought, others' opinions, for way too long. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't take advice from people who aren't living lives that we want to live. And it took me a while to discover that. And then, as you get older, you slowly realize that our parents, our soccer coaches, our teachers, they're all just kids that are older. They don't have it all figured out either. They only have one worldview. They only have one perspective. That doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all. Maybe you realize that I don't align with their political views anymore or their way of living. I have never wanted to go against their advice so badly. And it just kept coming back to me. When I was about to go to bed, I kept returning to this. What was that? I want to taste that again. Until one day, I literally sat up and was like, oh, hold on. I remember what I told myself and what I wrote down when I couldn't walk, when I was disabled. This brings me to the second thing that completely altered my direction in life. It was the summer before my freshman year. I was at my friend's cabin and we were out on the lake. Do you want to water ski? Yeah, let's go out. Do you want to slalom ski? We have a slalom ski. That's skiing with one ski instead of two on the water behind a boat. Of course, I love trying things. And I've slalom skied a couple of times at this point because my dad. But I'm not good. But he's like, yeah, we just have this professional boot. Which means it's a tight-fitting boot that doesn't slip and rotate or fall off when you fall. So what happened? I fall immediately. Because I'm not good at this yet. And I knew that. I fall immediately and I twist my leg up pretty good. I had a great run. I had a great 2-minute run of water skiing today. And something's definitely wrong. You know, when I got up on the boat, I was like, oh, I don't know what that was, but because it happened so fast. But yeah, the next day, I couldn't walk. My shit was swollen. But all my friends were, you're fine. You know, we're on the boat the next day. Like, you were just doing front flip. Do more front flips off the boat. Come on, let's have fun. Go swim. I'm like, guys, I don't think I can. This hurts really bad. And the weekend ends, and I go to Twin Cities Orthopedics, where they check out my knee. They say, oh, you sprained your knee. It'll probably be like three weeks till you're like decently good, but I wouldn't do any sports until like 2 months after this event. Okay, that's not that bad. Thank goodness. I thought they were going to tell me that I like tore my ACL or something. And then we're back bar hopping underage with my friends in Minneapolis, and we're running to catch our Uber. And one moment I'm running, and the other moment I'm on the ground. And I have no idea how the heck I just landed on the ground. My knee gave out. And they're still running up ahead of me, and I'm like, oh, shit. How do I get back up? And I'm, like, limp running to catch up with them because, of course, they didn't notice. They didn't turn around. They didn't ask if I was okay. They're like, you drunk, stupid. What are you doing? Get up. Come on. We got an Uber to catch. You're right. I'm fine. Come on. Let's go. I'm just drunk. It's fine. I go back to the doctor, though, because it's swollen again. The first time, they didn't do a scan. This time, they did an MRI. And the doctor comes in, and he tells me, Sid, you tore your ACL, your meniscus, and you partially tore your MCL or LCL or whatever. You're going to require major surgery. You can't play sports for at least 9 to 12 months. Matter of factly, this is it. This is that. I immediately cry, bawl my eyes out. Because being an athlete my entire life, I've heard of ACL injuries. I've seen my best friend Bree tear her ACL. I've heard how terrible that recovery is. How long you have to wait to get back into it. Fuck. Okay. Fine. It took a while for me to accept that news. And then it's my first semester at the University of Minnesota. I get a month where I can be free, a free college student, and experience all the new things. And to be honest, it was really exciting. It was really fun because it was all new and fresh, and, you know, the opportunities were endless. And, you know, I was meeting people. I still didn't meet like a group of people, but I was like, I'll have time for that. And then a month goes by, and I have to go in for my surgery. I go in, and then I have to go at home. Everything stops, all the momentum, everything. I'm at home, and my mother has to help me go to the bathroom. She has to help me feed myself. I don't leave the house for days. I couldn't sleep for days from pain. It was one of my lowest lows I've ever experienced. I was supposed to be young and free. I was supposed to be prancing and dancing around, making new friends and all things, and it all stops. And I lose all the muscle in my left leg. And when it's time that I can start walking again, I go back to the university to resume classes. I have to take a disability van to and from classes. And one day, I show up for the first time to one of my lectures, and I'm in the building, and I can't find the elevator. I'm like, there's only stairs. I literally have crutched up and down this hallway 3-4 times trying to find an elevator. I can't find an elevator. I'm bawling my eyes out. People are looking at me. I email like the TA, and I'm like, where's the elevator for this freaking building? There is none. There is none. There's no way for you to get upstairs. Something that I previously never had to think about. My roommate pushed me around the dining hall in a wheelchair. I felt all the eyes on me. I felt so much shame and embarrassment. I thought, oh my God, everyone's just looking at me and thinking, oh, how embarrassing. Oh, whoa, poor her. Poor her. I wouldn't want to be her. I can see it in their eyes. I wouldn't want to be her. This is what it's like to be disabled. It gets better with time because relentless acceptance. You can't change your situation, but I wrote in that journal, probably 6 days after my surgery, I wrote, Sid, don't you ever dare take your abilities for granted. Your ability to work, your autonomy, your ability to walk, the simplest thing. Use it while you have it. Use it while you're capable. And use it for something damn good. I forgot about writing that until that moment when I sat up. Because, frankly, I forgot about the days after my surgery. I don't remember anything. because my body and brain is trying to protect me from this very painful memory. Trauma is what that is. And I remember thinking, I need to write this down so I never forget. And since that moment, I sat up in bed. I've never forgotten. I said, I only have one shot. I'm only able and healthy again for so long before something else might come along. I will not take my abilities for granted. I will not take my autonomy for granted. Why don't I go after it? Why don't I just go after some of these wild pipe dreams that I've never said out loud because it's not realistic? It makes no sense. Why waste your energy on these thoughts when you have homework to do? When you have to figure out how to be a marketing intern? When you have to figure out your place in the world? Let me tell you the quickest way to find your place in the world. Listen to this. Your gut. Your gut has more information than you do. Your subconscious is working faster than you are at what an aligned life could look like. We keep shoving ourselves in these boxes when we want so much more, and our body tells us, but we ignore the signs. And listen, we could have gone along that day and seen those adults frolicking on the side of the road and moved on with our life. Never thought about it again. But I chose to see that as some kind of opportunity, some random thing. And obviously this one was pretty big and wild and extravagant. But throughout my entire journey, there are little hidden signs and little opportunities that we are completely blind to because we are not in the space that we're looking for something else. We're in the space that we should do what we need to do and get it done and think about dreams when we have more money and more space, a stable job. No. The younger you are, the freer you are. The second you turn 18 years old, you are the freest bird that lives. Mel Robbins said when you're in your 20s, take the biggest fucking risk of your entire life before you have to worry about a family, mortgage payments, and all the things. She's right. That is what I'm living by. I'm living by this motto now of YOLO. Get after it. Why not? Because it's only a matter of time before we're all gonna die. It's only a matter of time until I achieve my success. It's only a matter of time until I do the things I want to do. Why not now? I'm gonna go after it full force. So now I'll never forget what I wrote down when I was in the midst of that struggle. I'll never forget it. And that's when I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a gap semester, move across the country, and I'm going to see if Bree will come along. So the next day, I call Bree. I'm like, Bree, I'm serious. Do you want to go? Do you want to leave this behind in 2023 and go chase our wildest dreams? That was the moment when I listened to myself before I listened to anybody else. The answers are inside of you. Frankly, you know the answer most of the time, but we're so used to fact checking and checking on the opinions of others. So January 30th comes around, and Bree and I pack our shit in our cars. We turn the key, and we head for South Carolina. This is where a new life begins. Those are the two things that had to happen for me to leave. If I didn't tear my ACL and experience what it was like to be without my abilities, I don't know that I would have convinced myself, or at least would have taken a little longer. And if I didn't run into this random crew of individuals on the side of the road, it would have been a while before I knew about this sport and lifestyle called kiteboarding. Now let me tell you the things I chose to make a progression happen. Bree and I made a decision early that we were going to try and figure out a setup that we could share a room so we could save on rent. On our way down, the people we were going to sign a lease with text us. Sorry, we went with the other person. Oh, that's cool. No, it's really fine. It's not like we just packed our entire lives into our car and we're planning to sign and move in with you in 2 days. What the heck? Blindside. You know what I think? I think they didn't want to live with two people who were sharing a room. Thankfully, Bree, the amazing planner that she is, finds a month-long Airbnb VRBO host named Christina. She reads me her ad. She says, I'm finally living my dreams of living 5 minutes from the ocean, surfing with my dog Goose. And some other stuff, of course. She said, I learned how to surf at 50 years old. Bree and I are like, oh my God, this woman's cool. Let's stay at her Airbnb. And we're actually roommates with her for a month. And Bree and I get a job. We were like, I guess maybe we should find a way to stay afloat. Let's get a serving job because I've never stacked more cash than when I serve. That's a hack. If you spend a summer serving, you can stack cash and save. Anyway, we both get a job at Hotel Bennett, a 5-star, top 3 ranked hotel in Charleston, South Carolina, where hospitality is a competitive industry. We get jobs at different restaurants in the hotel, though. And I go work for one day. And I'm not a quitter, but I quit after one day. Because everyone in that place was so miserable. Because the stress of trying to maintain this 5-star status literally ran that business. There wasn't enjoyment. There wasn't fun. Everyone was so stressed all the time. I can't do this. I quit. And honestly, I think that Bree should have quit too. Even though she was in a different area. But we were like, no, but if we work at Hotel Bennett, we're going to meet some connections. We're going to meet some people who could do some things for us. And Bree sticks it out for a few months. And I commend her for, I applaud her for sticking around. And she made some crazy connections for ourselves. For the both of us. But ultimately, Bree and I lived together. And she was my buddy of just absolute grind. We didn't complain. And it was funny because then I went all in on my marketing business and trying to figure out videography. And I have a camera at this point. And I told myself, I'm going to post a reel every day so that I can hopefully get an audience. Because that's what you do to get an audience, right? Not necessarily. But because I made that promise to myself, every day I was learning a new area, zone, skill in Premiere Pro, the editing software I was using. Every day I turned the corner. There was new equipment, new software that I needed to buy to run a business, accounting software, editing software. The Creative Cloud is really expensive, blah, 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 all the things. And there's a new headache. So the roofing company, they were like, hey, you can build us a website, right? We feel like our web dude is kind of scamming us. Yeah. It's always yes. I can do that. Yeah, I took their emails down for an entire day and a half. Really bad look for me. But come on, they knew what they were getting into. That was my first website. This is a chance to get paid to learn how to do this. Yes, of course I'm going to do it. This is a chance to get paid to make mistakes. Yes. I was up till 3 to 4 to 5 a.m. every night on YouTube University, learning new skills and literally doing everything myself. And I would head to bed and Bree would wake up for her shift at work. It was really funny. And then it was time to move to our new place, which was a short-term lease, maybe 5 months. And we still had the opportunity to share a room, which was awesome. And in this place, we put our big whiteboard on the wall and we each had a side in our to-do list. And I personally always write to-do lists that should probably take 3 days to complete. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to get this done today. I never really did, but shoot for the moon, land among the stars. It's been one of my philosophies. And even though I felt like I was disappointing myself because I wasn't getting enough done, I was getting a lot done. Little did I know. But then came the hard moments. It was great to have Bree around, but we were on opposite schedules and working in our own lanes. And I would, kind of message my people back at home, my friends, and or call them, hey, I'll call you back. They said, rarely did they call back. And I was so confused because I was like, wait, but these were the really good friends that I made. They're not going to call me back? Do I have to put all the effort in to stay in touch with these people? Were we only going to be friends in proximity? After a few months of just grind and focus and, making a few attempts at outreach or hey, you should come visit me. It was always the stress of money, which is real, or I don't have time, or maybe during spring break or whatever else. It hurt. It hurt a lot because I realized, oh shit. If we're not convenient friends, I guess we won't be as close as we were. And that was really, really hard for me to swallow. A really hard pill. Something I didn't want to accept for multiple, probably. I didn't want to accept that for probably like a year and a half. Until I realized, damn, they really never did call me back, huh? They keep saying they're going to call me back, but fall through on these promises. I don't think I want to be friends with that kind of person anyway. At least not close friends. I guess I'll shut that door. That was me becoming someone new. I drove myself crazy because I just worked. I was selling my blood, my plasma. I was buying cheap food, trying to skip meals, and didn't make many new friends in Charleston. I shut off all complaints. I was facing so many struggles, but I was not going to complain because I knew why I was doing what I was doing. I could see a vision of a life so great, I could almost touch it. I was right there on the edge. Bigger than what I was living. Bigger than what I had in mind for myself. I was counting every minute, every second, and that urgency pushed me further. I was working for way less than someone deserves, but I was proving myself and creating these reps and understanding of I can do this. Because of course, when you're early on in your journey, you don't see your value yet. You undervalue yourself 10 times over. But you get more reps, and then you're more comfortable charging higher prices little by little, little by little. It's all just a process once you have a portfolio and self-trust. But still, it's too easy to undersell yourself. And that basically defined the next 7 to 8 months of our lives. Just grind, loneliness, struggle. But amidst all of that was also these little wins. Like Christina taught us how to surf. Growing up in the Midwest, I never pictured myself on the East Coast surfing 20 minutes from the beach. Why did I wait for vacation to experience warm weather almost year-round and coastal living? Jenny came through and taught me how to kiteboard. It started with one small lesson here and there. As I waited on the beach, got pictures, hung out with her girls on the beach, and patiently waited. And, when she decided she was ready to give me a quick short lesson, we were in, and I was making small progress, but I made quick progress because for the first time, I was completely free with my schedule. Like I said, the wind doesn't cater to your schedule. You have to cater to it. So I was able to kite when it was windy and get out with Jenny, whoever was out, and then work at night and finish my work for the most part. Then I needed gear. And I was like, oh, that's really expensive. That's going to be hard. Maybe there's a creative way I can figure out how to get gear. Scott, who I met on the Outer Banks trip, saw my passion and my progression in the sport. And I bought a new mini kit, basically, of camera gear off of Facebook Marketplace. And it was in a different state, and I had to ship it to Charleston. And because it's safer and cheaper to ship business to business, I asked Scott, hey, do you think that I could ship this package to your spot and come pick it up? But really, it was a chance to show Scott a tangible vision. And I opened up the camera bag of possibility right in front of his eyes. Then it wasn't just my idea. He could see it too. And he agreed, content for kite gear. Another win. Trades like this has been the thing that has made a lot possible. Skills for things. Skills for experiences. Then, when he saw my progression, I was officially a team rider for the shop, representing the brand and Sealand Sports of Charleston, South Carolina. What? I went from a newbie to a team rider in 6 months? That was insane. But because I could cater my schedule to the wind, I was able to progress faster than anyone, because most people have to wait for the weekend or a trip to Aruba or whatever the case is to finally get a progression, a moments of progression. But I was doing it any chance I got, relentlessly. And that is why I could progress. With all the money, I knew that we shared a room, not because we couldn't afford rent, but because we knew that money could be better spent elsewhere, like flights, like gear, like software. It was a trade-off we made in order to get ourselves ahead in some avenue. And we did that time and time again. We were booking flights to New Orleans to visit the people she met at Hotel Bennett. And we went to Costa Rica with a friend who invited us, because we started putting out into the world what we wanted. We want to travel. And suddenly these opportunities started appearing. But because we put it out into the world, nobody knows what you want. Nobody knows who you are if you're hiding it. Stop hiding it. Listen to yourself. And when you put it out into the world, I guarantee you, you're going to find more opportunities than ever. I guarantee you. And eventually these hints of success kept coming. It was all of these little signs, was like the universe saying, see, Sid, it's working. It's working. It's working. Sometimes we have to search for these signs. Just like the small opportunities that we're going to pass by, that we're going to let pass by us every day, because we're not searching for it. Because we've completely shut that part of our brain off. We've completely shut out the possibility of us doing something differently and chasing after a dream, a goal, whatever it is. The opportunities are just little seeds. All I can do is plant a little seed. All the universe can do is plant a little seed, but you have to water it for it to grow. Then the opportunity came along to produce a short film. When I learned how to kiteboard, there was 95% males on the beaches. And it was very intimidating. I don't see myself out there, and I don't want some dude mansplaining how to do this fucking sport. I'm intimidated by all of this. And thankfully, Jenny taught me, which was amazing to learn from a woman. But her and another individual, Mac, and Natalie, another kiteboarder, they had an idea. They wanted to create a project to get females, the face of females, out into the world, out online, because what you see is what you know. And Charleston was not seeing any media about women surfers hardly, or women kiteboarders, women water athletes. So that is where the inspiration for the project came. And when I heard about it, I was like, I'll do it. This is going to be my shot. This is going to be my chance to prove that I can do something with this, with living in South Carolina. This is going to be my shot. Even though I have no idea how to make a short film, even though I literally hardly know how to use Premiere Pro, I want to take this project on. Typical Sid, but a typical move I would recommend, because you progress so rapidly. And especially if it's a message and a thing that you care about. Empowering women is really up there in my priorities. But it was a project that wasn't going to pay any money. And that's when I started couch hopping. Our lease was up, and I was like, I need space. I can't like grind. I want to put my energy towards this film and do a good job. And so the first person I stayed with was my sister's boyfriend. Funny enough, I was living with my sister's boyfriend. And I was able to finish the short film, and it was amazing. Probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, to host a premiere at a local restaurant for a project we created. We got a lot of people to show up. We did a raffle. It was legit. The lights went down. People actually got quiet. It was so surreal to watch the light from the screen illuminate the crowd of faces, actually paying attention, accepting the film. And I could feel the impact of every ounce of love that I poured into the project. So I will never forget sitting with Bree after this event, getting ice cream. And we were like, oh, that just happened. Goosebumps. I literally just got goosebumps. We were like, I think it was a moment for me, like, I just proved it. I just proved that I can make something happen that isn't written down in some syllabus. I can make something for myself That was my proof. That one project. I can be a filmmaker. I've hardly seen any women filmmakers. That dream wasn't even relative in my mind because I never saw any examples of it. Until I let my curiosity and the opportunities in life take me there. That moment was proof. I meant for more. I just achieved more. And I'm going to go after more relentlessly. I'm not slowing down anymore. I got a taste of what it's like to achieve a big goal, to put in the grind and do something I didn't know I was capable of. We've got huge dreams, big ass, scary, whack, weird looking dreams. There's nothing that's going to stop me in this life. I won't let any downfall get in my way anymore. Through this entire experience, I've placed calculated bets and I've worked on my brain, a lot to make it all happen. I've learned a ton and I'm so excited to share. I will bring on people with the same big, scary, whack-looking dreams and show you that there's a lot of us that exist out here. And there's more that can exist. I'm telling you all of this because I'm a person who not only has big goals and dreams for myself. I'm not only ambitious for the sake of me, but I'm on a personal mission as Sid Meier to bring humanity a little closer together with some more perspective. I want to make the world better. Simple as that. What a silly dream, kid. That's not realistic. You can't change the world. I beg to differ. We change the world every day that we show up. We change the little worlds in our home, in our classrooms, between our peers. The world is made up of a bunch of little worlds. And if we truly believe that we can make no difference, then we go on to the diffusion of responsibility. Someone else could do it, probably better than I could, so I'm not going to do anything. That's not how it works. That's not how progress is made. It comes from a little fire inside of every single one of us. And I believe that the people who will change the world are the founders and the creators and the people who go first. I want to foster this community of cheerleaders so that we can change the world. It's why I speak 4 languages. If you speak a second language, you know what it's like to, first of all, achieve hard things, but second of all, to take the time and the energy to learn about somebody else, their culture, to show up prepared for them, to meet them where they're at. That makes all the difference in the world. You should see the smiles I'm met with when I speak someone's native language. Listen, not all the time. Not in France, I hear. But all I'm saying is that we're all a lot more similar than we think. The mental dialogue that goes through our head. I wish I was skinnier. Do I smell bad? Do I look bad today? I miss him. I miss this person. We all know each other a lot better than we think. The CEO of Target to the man sitting on the street shaking a cup. We all have very similar thoughts. But listen, this is the last story I'm going to leave you with. I haven't had just one surgery. At the beginning of 2025, it happened again. My knee gave out. I was on the ground before I even knew what happened. Confused, far from home, with my new boyfriend, no friends, trying not to panic. My knee gave out again. It gave out again, and it gave out again the day before I left for Brazil, where I would be filming a project. I limped out of Planet Fitness. I got in my car and I just screamed. My body is broken. There was the question, should we just delay or not go? No. I only have opportunities for so long. And clearly I'm broken because my knee is fucked again. But I'm going to go to Brazil, even if I have a little limp. Because right now, it's lined up and it's there. The opportunity is here. And I went and filmed. And even though I had a little limp, I'm glad I went. I went and kited and filmed a sick project, a sick portfolio, but I lived with soul and passion there. I wouldn't trade that. Then I find out what's really wrong. The doctor, I met with multiple doctors, and they all told me that your surgery was done wrong. The surgeon drilled a tunnel into your femur bone in the wrong position. And because of that, your ACL ligament was stretched, thinned, and broke. So I have to get another ACL reconstruction surgery in 3.5 months from now. But before that, I had to go in for surgery so that they could fill in this improperly placed hole in my bone and fix what they fucked up. While they were around digging in my knee, they noticed the huge meniscus tear that I had, and they had to fix that too. Here I was again. After this one, 6 weeks, no weight, lost all my muscle. You should have seen me limping around setting up this podcast equipment because I still can't walk properly. When I found out I'd have to go through this process again, but in 2 phases, not only can't I kite and do my sports for 9 to 12 months, it's probably going to look more like 12 to 15 before you can go back to doing the things that you love, kiteboarding. But there are other things that I love, like creating. I went back to all of the pain and the suffering that I had prior. Just like that. I was back in deep in this dark place. And that first time, I didn't realize how depressed I was until I reflected on it. And this time, I knew what it was. I said, I know that this is depression. I know that this sadness is going to come. I'm expecting this. I'm a little better equipped. But it still didn't stop the train of thought that you occasionally have. When you deal with depression or anxiety, there are nights where things might be fine, mundane, whatever. But there are nights where you can go down a rabbit hole of thoughts. You know, if I have to go fix this now, well, it happened to me once, and now it happened to me twice, and it wasn't even my fault. I didn't even injure it during a sport. It'll probably happen to me again. Maybe my leg is just permanently going to be fucked up, you know? If this happens to me, I'm going to have to face something else that's really hard, and maybe I'll get cancer. And all I can think about is how I can't walk for 6 weeks. I'm going to lose all my muscle again. How I'm going to have to go through this painful process of getting back to health. And there is one night in particular where I really went down a rabbit hole. Just couldn't stop crying. My one thought led to the other. And eventually I landed in a place that was... I've never been suicidal. I've never had suicidal thoughts. But for the first time, I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. It'd be fun if I didn't wake up. I don't want to fight. I'm tired of fighting. For my health, for my happiness. It's such a hard fight, you know? This is the thing. The only thing that pulled me out of that moment was beyond me. it saved me in that moment. Even though I knew and I could identify that this is anxiety and this is a train of thought and it's late and you're probably hungry and you're extra emotional. All of these biological factors, fine, that are causing more emotion, fine. But something beyond me, I thought, if I don't want to be here for myself, why should I be here for the world? Why should I be here for the world? In that moment is when I decided I will do anything to make the world a better place. Because it's much easier for me to do something for someone else than it is for me to do for myself. I will do anything to make someone smile, to make someone laugh, to cheer someone on, to allow someone the space to go after what lights them up inside. And that became a message for me. The gifts that we have, the light, my ability to speak and my creative talents and skills and my urgency to live a life, these are all gifts given to me. They're not mine. I do not own them. No. They are divine. The gifts that you have are divine. It is your responsibility to share them with the world. All those things you're hiding, all those skills, all those talents, maybe you can sing, but you don't really share it because no one is successful at singing. That's like 1 in a million. Maybe you can draw. Maybe you just have this itch to be a pro snowboarder or whatever it is. If you don't follow that freaking message that you are sending yourself, you are betraying yourself, but you are betraying the world. What's the point of baking a cake if you can't share it? The world is in need of more passionate individuals. The longer we pretend that we belong in these cubicles and in these roles that aren't fit for us, the longer it's going to take for the collective consciousness of the planet to increase, for overall levels of joy, happiness, whatever. Who knows? What even is the point, right? But now, my initial conviction was this injury and the opportunity I found. But now the conviction that will not leave me, ever, is to make this world a better place. If you can, you know what it takes to get there? Do you know what it takes to find purpose, passion? To find the people who are meant to be in your life, the love of your life. Do you know what it takes? It takes being exactly who you are and giving that gift to the world. So I'm asking you today to think about the gift you have to give to the world. I know something came to mind. The thing that you don't share. The thing you want to do that you don't share. I know you're thinking of it right now. It's time to let it breathe. And if you come back week after week in this podcast, you're going to find a space where it can breathe. So now you know my why now statement. The struggles are abundant. But so is the beauty and the appreciation for this miraculous thing we call life. This rock floating through the universe that is against all odds. The fact that you exist against all odds. This is all beautiful and magical. If you're feeling the thought of what I want isn't possible, these pipe dreams of mine, they're not possible. Are we going to pretend that this shouldn't exist? And we think that our goals and our dreams and everything within us shouldn't exist. It should. For so many reasons, it should exist. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you get a special look into the scene that is the cover of this podcast. I believe in creativity, and I wanted to create the space for me to flourish in the message we're sharing today. So literally, we set this up last night. We took the picture last night. I tried to record last night. I tried to record again this morning. Now it's the afternoon, and I'm finally wrapping this up. It wasn't easy to open up. I've probably recorded this for like 6 hours, trying to get it right, redoing it. That wasn't good enough. Distracted by the chickens, distracted by equipment failures. This was the first rep. It only gets better from here. But what does this mean? Like, what's laying about here? I wanted to create a space for this vision to live. We have to create it for ourselves. We don't just get it handed to us. So the scene here is this suitcase, which was my mom's, and I found it in her closet. And it's just freaking adorable. It's yellow, it's got the latch, and I took it with me to South Florida. It's not a rolly, it's not very convenient. It doesn't make much sense, but it's cute as heck. Then we've got my clothes sprawled out. I had a lot of visions for the cover, but I just wanted it to showcase the business. The business. Oh, here, let me. So, I wore this. I wanted this coat, suit, and the shorts that are ripped. They're from a pantsuit. I cut that pantsuit because it's businessy, but then like we're business, but we're also on the go, and that's why the clothes are sprawled out. The hairbrush, and we mean business. We've got the computer, we've got the phone, we're doing it, but we're doing it from beaches, baby. Like, this is my life. We're doing it from beaches. We're doing it off the water. South Florida, Boca. We're going to Charleston. We're going to Minnesota. We're going all over the world. And this podcast will be all over the world. But this just kind of represents the hustle and the mess that it is. And also the creativity and the space to breathe. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor. If this resonated with you in any way, gave you ideas, gave you inspiration, motivation, if you're coming back next time, please give it a like, give it a subscribe. And most importantly, send it to a friend who might find it valuable as well, who might belong here. Because this community will truly become a community when we get more homies up in here. So with that, I sign off. Thank you so much for joining. We are off to big freaking things. This is the Kids Like Us podcast, and your host, Sid, signing off. Bye.